there. Then you go back to James Hugenbosom, Jake Lewis, Damon Rees and Connor London, row 3. Ryan Yanko, Dave Sharp and Ray Clee. And 13th, 14th, 15th on the grid. So we have 17 entered. We're now without Mitch. We're down to 16 superbikes on the track. Brought to you by Timaru Yamaha at 145 Hilton Highway here in Timaru. Lights are on. And they're away. And Scotty Moyle, what a great start. The CD Vandermeer Builders GSXR 1000 gets underway into the S's. And Sloane Frost, the TSS Red Baron Fitter Fujitsu man in second place as well, with looks to be the update Al Hoogie and third place as well. Livio Zampiri, what a great start from Livio. He sits in fourth place at the moment on the Carl Cox Motorsport GSXR 1000. Go back to Jake Lewis, good start from Jake, and in there, sixth place Damon Rees. So that's the man we want to keep an eye on, Damon Rees. They head into turn 4, the left-hander to John Jones Steele. Left, they head into the northern part of the circuit. Scotty Moyer, he did this yesterday, got out in front and run away with it. Sloane Frost, defending NZSBK champion, he is not going to want to let that happen. Right there at the moment as they head right and then up into the hairpin. Awesome stuff there from Scotty Moyer.
All right, nice to have Ian joining us here and an opportunity to talk about our superbikes. And first of all, Ian, home's just in Christchurch up the road, and an opportunity. But hey, when it comes to an opportunity to help us Stroud, you can't stay away, can you?
Well, you know, the young fellas out there, Jesse and Caleb, I'm helping them this weekend. Fantastic young men.
Yeah, great to see indeed. All right, feeling like being involved with racing, your work with the team in the accessories industry. I saw you at the motorbike show in Auckland a few months ago, and that took you around the country. What's it like?
Yeah, it's fantastic actually. The whole industry is going really well at the moment. I mean, look at the field we've got in superbikes. It's just amazing out there. Those guys are all riding brilliantly. Their bikes are well prepared, well presented. It's fantastic to see.
All right, great to see. So Ian will give us some expert comments and keep an eye on some things in there at the moment. But there we go. Sloane Frost, Scott Moyer, Alistair Hugenbosom, Livio Zampiri ahead of Damon Rees, Jake Lewis, Chris Haldane and Dan Medham. That's a fair mix them up again here today, Brad.
Yeah, so as they cross the line, Sloane did an amazing move into the bus stop. He's in front at the moment. They head into the right hand of the hairpin. And Sloane Frost now, he won 3 races here last year and loves this place, does very well here. Then we go back to Scotty Moyer. The 5 on his bike in second place at the moment. 43 of Al Hoogie. He had a good day yesterday as well. He's in third place with Livio Zampiri, who's woken up on the right side of the bed. He's had a great start and in fourth place and running with the top guys. Damon Rees there reeling those guys in as well. He's closed that gap down. He's in fifth place.
Right, back here with expert comments coming from Ian and Ian. Sloane Frost back to the front. He won all 3 races here at Levels last year. This is a kind of on-fire performance we've been waiting for. It's almost like he comes here and flicks a switch.
Yeah, absolutely. Sloane finds Ruapuna a bit of a difficult track. He comes down here and this is where he collects his South Island points and he bags them every time.
Yeah, here indeed. All right, so great to see out there. So it is Sloane Chopper Frost, NZ number 1 there on the Fitter Fujitsu Suzuki GSXR Red Baron motorcycle supported Suzuki, and really starts to get out there and get on fire. That's great work to do. But I tell you what, Livio Zampiri, he's the one to impress at the moment. What a great performance there from the Carl Cox Motorsport. Consent to go VS1 design supported Suzuki GSXR 1000. So Livio is not really featured in the top performances, but he's just right off the shoulder there of third place, so a chance to hit the podium. And that 4, Brad, has really broken away. That's a big gap back to 5.
Yeah, that's right. Damon Rees was definitely a lot closer to that four-way battle there last time around. So I wonder if Damo's just pushing a little bit hard and just needs to. It's a 15-lapper. He's got plenty of time to reel those boys in. So we'll have a look at Damo Rees. We'll look to see Daniel Medham. I think that's Daniel in 6th place. So he was down in about 8th or 9th before. So better stuff from Daniel. He's got himself in a fighting chance with that top group.
All right, Ian, the 15-lapper, as Brad has pointed out, man, that's some distance to cover in here. What's the strategy about now only lap number 3?
I'd say that the boys are pushing on quite hard. Certainly looking at the front 4 or 5 guys, they've got their head down. They're trying to break the field up a little bit. And Sloane likes to get a bit of a lead. If he's got a good lead on, he can just concentrate on setting a really nice, smooth, consistent lap. But it doesn't look like he's going to get away. Looks like Scotty Moyer's trying really, really hard to hang with him. If Scotty can hang with him for the next couple of laps, I think Sloane will just back the pace down a wee touch and conserve his tyres towards the end.
All right, and as we know as well with Scott Moyer, he's admitted that he doesn't think he'll be in the best of shape. He did very little riding actually last year. He won the Suzuki Series in 2017, of which of course he's gone and retained again in 2018. But in between time, it's probably had his quieter season. He's a family man out of Taupo, and work's been busy, life's been busy. Took a little bit of a break, and here he is to come back. And he's a little bit worried about his stamina, but I'm sure he's got the endurance to go with him. Has he got the strength? Well, we're about to find out as we see this big 15-lapper setting in here for Superbike racing, courtesy of Timaru Yamaha, the home of the little Nikon. And there's a bike that's something different. Ian is a bike connoisseur. Do you want to give it a go?
Yeah, I've actually tried a Nikon. They're surprisingly fast. People are quite surprised by how well they handle. They've got so much front-end grip. It's just unbelievable.
Does it sort of defy what a motorbike is, though? Is that part of the game? What do you think?
It's certainly something different to look at, but to be honest, it feels like a normal motorcycle when you're riding.
Well, there you go. All right, you've had the opportunity, and well done. Nice to see, Brad. We're looking out for that battle. And Chopper, well, is he going to wear his Suzuki teammate down?
No, I think he's doing well at the moment. He's just defending more nicely. Just he's neat and smooth. So Chopper Frost out in front of the moment with the PSS Red Baron Suzuki, and Scotty Moyer just quite happy to sit in behind him. I think they've got a decent enough gap back to Al Hoogie. So definitely those two boys are sitting into a smooth little race pace. I don't think anyone's doing any big brave moves with only 5 gone and a 15-lapper.
All right, so 1.7 as well as the margin. Remember that, folks. 1.7 the margin at the moment for Damon Rees. Looking out for the rider back in 5th place. So there we are, looking for the change.
Yeah, pass there from Scotty Moyer underneath Sloane Frost. So Sloane hasn't been able to make the break.
Well, there we go, and Scott getting in front now. This is what he talked about yesterday, that he thinks he has got the ability to run for the front, but it's more the fact that can he run it for 15 laps, and that'll be what I'm sure we're going to see Sloane out there being conscious of, because if he can just still stay with him, he's got an opportunity to pounce back later in the race.
Absolutely. These bikes are very, very powerful, very, very fast. The G-forces that are applied to the riders through the corners are just unbelievable. Under braking, they're pulling 3.5 Gs.
There we go, into the bus stop. It is Scotty Moyer, the CD Vandermeer Builders GSXR 1000. He'll lead him across the line with Sloane Frost. And Al Hoogie, I think Al Hoogie might have just snuck onto the back of that. So three-way fight for the lead. Livio Zamperi now with Damon Rees right in behind him. So that gap there still on, so it has come down a little bit. Yeah, so it's down to 1 second now, so taking 0.7 out of it. So he'll be looking to make light work of a fellow Carl Cox Motorsport man, Livio Zamperi there. They head down the back straight, and definitely looks to be Damo's definitely a lot closer, more in touch with the leaders than he has been previously. Well,
we're talking about a 1-2, and then we've been talking about the 4-5 in there, but it's the number 3. And there of Yamaha pilot Alistair Hoogenboosum. You've seen Al being a Canterbury man as well, Ian. But what about that for a brand new team, the Blue Crew Yamaha, and a new bike on board, and comes home on the podium for racing last weekend? That's a class act for a young man.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. Look, Al's a very, very talented rider. He's been riding a long time. You know, he's former 600 champion. He's the man on a bike. But to pull out a new team, a new bike, something that they've never tried, never tested, and to be running podium pace, that's amazing.
Great to see you, right, as we're looking out. So he's the man in 3rd place. We've perhaps said less of him, but it's more the fact of the good fight going on and the places in front of him. 1-2, as we've seen the change there now with Scott Moyer moving up over current number 1, and Suzuki fellow pilot in Sloane Frost, and also, of course, the catch-up now coming from Demon Damo, and that is now down to 0.1, So that's 10 parts of that have disappeared off the clock in the last 2 laps alone. So, Brad, look out for that fight back. Could be all of a sudden Demon Damo making the pounce and taking that Team Rees Carl Cox Honda straight into 4th spot.
Yeah, good work from Damo. He got the job done on Livio, so he's definitely got the clean track ahead of him. And now we just want to keep an eye on that battle. In the front, Scotty Moyer, Sloane Frost, Al Hoogie, the more dicing they'll do, the more it'll play in the hands of a guy like Damon Rees, who'll definitely be looking at trying to reel them in. So the best thing these guys can do is just get their head down and get into a groove. Scotty Moyer through the bus stop, neat and tidy, and onto the front straight. So he'll have 7 laps to go now as they cross the line. So at half race distance, Scott Moyer over Sloane Frost, and then go back to Al Hoogie. So catch a look at that gap. So it's a 5-second gap. So definitely still with 7 laps to go. Let's see if Demon Damo can reel that gap in.
3 Suzukis, a Honda and a Yamaha in there for the manufacturer's glory. After all, it is Timaru Yamaha sponsored Superbike racing, and looking out for Damon Rees to try and make up something. And that is a big gap to do it. But if anybody can, we've seen his performance. Got the maximum 51 points, 1 for qualifying and 25 for the 2 wins at Ruapuna, so he's proved he's no slouch here.
Oh, I can see Damo putting his head down about now. He's going to work really, really hard over the next 4 laps. If he can get on the back of this group of 3 in front of him, there's no telling what's going to go on.
All right, indeed. Well picked up. Great observation in that one as we look out for our Timaru Yamaha, part of DHL's package of racing for our NZSBK.co.nz series for 2019. In fact, get on board if you've been here in the South Island following racing over the last 2 weeks. If you're not going to make the trip to North, of course, you can head on to the website or get onto the Facebook, of course, be part of Ctas and get onto that live audio and video updates and get all this great racing with 3 rounds in the North Island left, including MotoFest first week of March, and then go to the 4th round at Manfield and the Mighty Manawatu 2 on the last weekend of March 30th and 31st, and the following weekend 5th and 6th of April up in Taupo for the final. And for you, Ian, you're a good example of it, living in Christchurch. You'll be one going on Ctas to watch those rounds if you can't get to the North Island.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, with work this year, I'm tied up and can't make it to the North Island, but I'll definitely be watching on Ctas Live.
Yeah, indeed. Good to see you and keeping it up with it. Brad, you're watching a great race unfold there.
Yeah, and just as we said, this group at the front, Scotty Moyes just put the fastest lap in the race, 1:03.676. So that's only 0.3 off lap record pace. So Scotty Moyes, man on a mission, and definitely visually looking like he's broken free of the 2 behind him. And Damo Rees, with a gap still over 5 seconds, just has no answer for the front 3 at the moment, as we see Scotty Moyes into the bus stop and out of there. Definitely got his head down, and have a look at this lap time, see if he can improve.
Well, really, we're seeing Scott Moyes just break clear a little bit there, Ian, so that's the advantage that he was looking to. What sort of threat is Al Hoogie now on Sloane Frost? Can Al make that move? Can he get number 2?
I can't see Al just sitting there waiting. He'll try and make the move when he's close enough, for sure.
Right, there we go. Expert comments here coming from Ian Templeton today, part of the team at roadguide.co.nz, and pleased to be supporting racing throughout the series with a lot of good riders and series support on board. So there we go, looking out at John Jones Steele and down the back where Brad keeps an opportunity to give an update, courtesy of the great work of the Ctas, your audio, video and text service specialist, all on board and alive and flying up here with Brad.
Yeah, here it is. Have a look at your awesome little battle. Sloane Frost is just doing enough to hold off the charge from Al Hoogie, but Al, we are definitely all over the back of them now. So Scott's going to have to put his head down and head out of the front at the moment, and then Sloane and Al having a little fight in second and third. Damon Rees at only 4th place at the moment, with Livio Zamperian 5th, coming under all sorts of pressure now from Daniel Medham, who's having a bit of a late race charge.
Right, so there we go with our Pounce, and let's take an opportunity to talk about a few of our others, because Al's brother James is back there and behind Dan Medham, so that's 7-6 we talk about. Looking out for Jake Lewis, hasn't had the best of runs here at levels, as we go to Connor London in a 9th place here to Dan Ormsby. Nice to have Dan Willis, didn't end up in the program, a little bit of an error for that, but he certainly should have been on board, courtesy of Ormsby Motorcycle Training at www.motorcycletraining.co.nz, and looking out, watching out what's going on there, Ian.
Yeah, so that looked like a change of position to me. Daniel Medham taking over from Zampese.
Oh, they're well picked up. Well, Dan Medham, there's a race that I'll never forget when Robbie Bugden picked him for the TT title at Hampton Downs at MotoFest last year, so we know he's capable, and he's going to wait for MotoFest. That's going to be his home track, so there's a good example. If you can do consistent results at all the other tracks, come to your home track and bag 3 wins, and you're in with a real chance of the title, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's actually about finishing, not about finishing first. You know, often I watch guys who should be winning a championship who just can't bag the points.
Yeah, here indeed, and this year all the races are going to count with so many quality riders. There's no way anymore that you can just go 1, 2, 3 and know what they were in order like we could in years gone by, put Andrew Stroud at the top and find out who was going to be first. You just haven't got that dominance, because on the day, flick a switch, it could be Damon, could be his brother Mitch, could be Scotty Moyer, could be Chopper. He hasn't got a number 1 on his bike for nothing, and now we've got young guns galore coming in here, the likes of Dan Medham, so a feast of quality riders.
Absolutely so. This is probably the best superbike field I've seen in 20 years.
Great to see you, riders. Brad's been watching our Ctas live update, and for the spectators here at this beautiful Levels Raceway, a little bit of a blind spot round the edge of the embankment area, and picking them up now.
Yeah, it is still Scott Moyer in charge of this one. Then go back to Sloane Frost, who's still done enough to keep Al Hoogie in behind him. So we see Scotty out of the hairpin and down into the front end of the circuit. Scott Moyer, he's run an awesome race. Well done to Scott, who's just got out of the bed and knows what he has to do. Got out in front and made the move on Sloane when he had to. So they'll have 2 laps to go now as he crosses the line. Sloane Frost still defending against Al Hoogie, with Damon Rees in 4th place there, just circulating really. He's not been able to reel in this front group at all.
All right, Ian, make your prediction now. Can Al get past Sloane? What do you think?
Well, he's certainly going to try. Third place won't be satisfactory for Al. He'll definitely want that second place if he can get close enough. He'll have a lunge.
All right, he'll have a lunge. Love those words, love those words. Let's go with him at the moment, of course. Latter part of our race. Remembering 15 laps, man, the energy that must be being exhausted by these riders at the moment. They are really putting their body. And we've got the sunny at the moment. Perhaps the best weather of the day and the warmest track. Got to be close to perfect conditions, Ian, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic conditions for racing out there today. The track's dry, the track temperatures come up, the sun's coming out. There's no wind. It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, so we've got Scott Moyer with a 1:03.5, so that's less than 0.2 off lap record pace, so that's great pace. Scotty Moyer got a bit of lap traffic to contend with, does it nicely into the bus stop. He runs and white flag out, 1 to go. Scott Moyer has a decent enough gap heading into the last lap with Sloane Frost and Al Hoogie, so we're definitely going to keep our eyes on Al Hoogie, see if he's got anywhere he likes to pass. He's right there, so definitely close enough to make a move. Let's see if he can get some good slipstream down the back straight. He gets a good into Castro and good drive out of Castro, so have a look at Al Hoogie, see if he's got anything for that Fitter Fujitsu TSS Red Baron Suzuki in front of him.
All right, there we go in our final pounce, and it's looking good, and keeping an eye, in fact, on Damon. And no, it's been all about consistency, and I tell you what, look, the bike's still trying to dive in the air a little bit there at the moment, so he won't be happy with his performance at all today. How do you turn a 51-point performance into the results that he's had this weekend? That just goes to show you, and we can see it on MotoGP or World Superbikes. Riders have their tracks and have their day, and it's just hasn't been Damon's after his all-conquering perfect performance at Ruapuna round number 1. But I tell you what, Scott Moyer is looking to be that man again here today and do the advantage. So points at the top of the table are going to be super close and exciting on this one. Let's bring him home, Brad.
Here we go, Scotty, into the bus stop. So awesome ride, great work from Scott Moyer. He's into the bus stop and out of the front straight. He will take the checkered flag. Sloane Frost into the bus stop, run to the line, and he has done enough for second place. So a brilliant podium there. Scotty Moyer ahead of Sloane Frost, and then to Al Hoogie in there for third. Damon Rees, a good sensible ride for Damon. Brings home fourth place and some good points. Daniel Medham had a good late race pace there, so he'll be one to watch if he gets a better start. Livio Zamperi, ride of the day for me so far. He keeps off Al Hoogie, so sixth place for Livio. And then Connor London, who's managed to pass Jake Lewis and get up for an eighth place. So a good ride from Connor as well, with Jake Lewis back in ninth. And then looking back, a little three-way fight here. That would be Dan Ormsby, the 32 machine, coming across the line with Ryan Yanko, and then Chris Haldane, a good little fight there for 10th, 11th and 12th coming through there. The legendary Ray Clee for RCM Ray Clee Motorsports there coming through in 13th, and look to see BG. Good to see BG finishing the race there on the Kia Trailers Suzuki New Zealand. Sloane Frost Racing GSXR 1000, so good work from BG. So Scotty Moyer a 1:03.5, so that is fast. That is just under 0.2 of a second off lap record pace, so he definitely got his head down and ended up winning by 2.6 seconds, so over 2.5 second victory in this NZSBK Superbike racing. Well done to Scotty Moyer, and he'll be
well, we come out here to the I suppose it's our unofficial park permit. I'll park the bike in the front, yeah. And see our riders out there. Wow, this is just fantastic. And listen to the applause from the crowd. 3 great riders, thoroughly deserved. Are we actually going to see a podium repeated through the series? That's what I'm enjoying about it. It's not the same 1, 2s or 3, and it's not even the same 3 mixing it up with sort of a 1 and a 2 and then a 2 and a 3, that kind of thing. You've just got different riders each time. This is the first time we've had this podium, so great to see. And it'll be those that appear on the podium the most, of course, that'll be taking that number 1 position when we come to the first weekend of April this year. Seems like it's literally months away, and a lot of racetracks to cover between now and then. But what a championship it's proving to be. And in the words of Ian Templeton, our guest commentator for that Superbike race, I think he summed it up in his words by saying it'll be the most consistent person at the end, and it certainly will be. So great work this time. Oh, what an amazing podium we've just seen in a great race. Thoroughly deserve it of it. Al Hoogie, well, we weren't quite sure whether to place a bet on you, whether you were going to make the move, but hey, perhaps a little bit early in the series to try those tighter moves. Were you happy in the end just to stick to third?
Well, never happy to stick to third, but no, we'll definitely take third. Definitely closed up a little bit on Sloan in the last couple of laps. Scotty got away and had a pretty clean break, so I think everyone was struggling a little bit at the end with tyres. So we'll take all the information we can get and try and move up to that step next to me in the next race. So yeah, cheers to all Yamaha and all the team for getting me where we are today. So cheers.
Beautiful words, beautiful words. What a professional, and honour to have these kind of guys with us. Sloan Frost, to talk to you here on the podium. This is great news. Hey, and you got a good one as well as that start, so a much better performance. You got to be happy with that.
Yeah, for sure, Neil. It's always enjoyed being back here. It's been a little while since I've been able to get on the podium, so it'd be nice to be standing where Scotty is. But we gave it a good go, and yeah, fingers crossed we maybe get a bit of track temp for the next race, and hopefully that rain doesn't come through, and it should be another good one.
Exactly. Hey, last year here you were totally dominant in the class. Is it the fact that the other guys have got better, or is there a reason you just haven't quite got in the same groove?
I think I'm still sort of getting up to speed in that with having quite a bit of time off the bike, but can't take anything away from the other guys. You know, they've all stepped up their pace dramatically, and there's a whole bunch of guys now that are doing really good lap times, and basically I'm just have to change how I ride, because it's not just a matter of sort of cruising around at the front.
Exactly. Frost Industries hero in there, and Sloan Frost. Well, Scott, that's the biggest smile I've seen for a while. You were a little bit worried about lasting the 15 laps, but in the end you did it with ease. You actually took off from them, mate. You've been training at the gym overnight and haven't been telling us.
No, if you seen what I ate last night, yeah, you probably wouldn't think so. But I actually managed to I thought I'd just go a bit slow to start with, but Chop put a pretty mean pass. I mean, I thought I'd bide my time, follow him, and I think I must have been about 5-6 laps in and made the pass, and then just stuck it in. So yeah, fitness was actually all right. Tyre was good, had a good tyre choice. Pirelli tyres were working well. I'm happy with my second win. Hopefully can do a repeat in the 20 lapper.
Good words, guys. Well done, Mad Love Media wants another lovely photo. Well done, Team Suzuki. Everybody looking good back here in the background. Yes, indeed, Suzuki 1-2 and the Yamaha in third place. So manufacturers well represented. Timaru Yamaha proud to be supporting our superbike racing, and of course the Nikon.